Hi everybody, it's Tanya here at Tanya's Place in Cottage Country. It is fall. The leaves are down on the ground and it is time to do some canning. I had previously frozen my little cherry tomatoes because I had so many and they weren't ripening. So as they, started to ripen, I threw them in freezer bags in the freezer. I took them out this morning and basically put them in the pots and gave them a little stew so that they just started to break apart. Now I'm sterilizing my jars and have my station set up. Easy peasy. Well, I've watched so many videos. It seems so scary to actually can because you need to make sure two things. You need to make sure that your acidity in your cans is stable so that you don't get sick. Number one. And the easiest way to do that is by adding 1 tablespoon of real lemon juice in the bottle, not from Lemon Juice Squeeze. 1 tablespoon to 1 pint, which is a smaller jar for canning. 2 tablespoons if it's the quart-sized jars, which is what I'm using. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt because I like salt. Do not use table salt, use sea salt. I'm using the pink Himalayan. It doesn't matter what one it is as long as it's sea salt or pickling salt, not just the iodized table salt. You only need a few things. You don't really need a funnel when you're doing it. It just helps cut down on the mess. I'm using the measuring cup just to put it into the jars, into the funnel. You do need to warm up your lids, especially, the rubber part around the seal. You want that warm so that it will adhere, it will do its thing. And so what I'm going to do when it's time is I got some water in here and just give it a little like a gentle simmer and then turn it off. And then they're going to be ready. I have a rack that right now I have a big canner, but it's too big for my burners. So I'm using this pot and I'm doing quart size. So I just put them in, covered them up with water, let them come to a boil. Now they're just down low because you don't want to take a boiling can out and set it on anything cold or put anything cold in it because there's a risk of cracking. So I'm just having that down low. I'm going to take them out and turn them over and set them on my rack. They'll still be warm. I have a towel because once I get the canning part done, and I don't want to just set them on my countertop. You don't want to set a boiling, after you've canned, set that right on a cold surface because that might crack. So I'm going to nestle them all sitting on a towel, cover them up. They'll be cozy till they seal. That's cool. I have I'm going to put a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt in each of my jars just because I want some salt. And the important thing is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice per quart or 1 tablespoon per pint. That's your biggest thing. Don't fret about how so many people can stuff. The important thing is the acidity of the lemon juice. After that, you're all set. I have in here a little bit of vinegar, white vinegar, in my dish and a piece of paper towel because once you fill your cans with your tomatoes or whatever you're doing, you want to dip your paper towel in the vinegar and just wipe around the top because you want that little bit of the gummy part or to not have anything that will make it not seal. It has to be a clean surface for that little part to go on. I have this gripper, you know, like to get, oops, try and do this one-handed, to take my hot cans out and put them wherever I need to, because you don't want to burn your fingers. And basically, oh, and this is just one of my face towels. So since I'm using just a pot that I'm going to be canning with, this is called hot water bath canning, water bath canning. You don't want your jars to sit right on the surface and boil, because the bubbles will come up and it could crack the bottoms. So a lot of people have like a wire rack or a little something that will fit down in. I don't have that for this pot. So if you put a face cloth down, or, you know, a tea towel or something like that, it just creates that barrier where you avoid that, where it's not going to damage as everything boils. Now, I didn't have it in here for this because I just barely got it to a boil and then turned it down. But when you're actually doing your canning process for quart jars, it's like 35 minutes for a good rolling boil. 40 to 45 minutes for, oh, I said that wrong. Pints are 35 minutes rolling boil. Quarts are 40 to 45 minutes. I'm going 45 just to make sure. So, you know, when that's happening for that long, they could knock around with the bubbles and everything and maybe like break. So all you gotta do, put a face cloth down in there and you're set on that. So my little cherry tomatoes, looks like they're broken down pretty good. Like, I didn't cook them that long, or it stewed them, I guess. But, you know, and I left the skins on because they're thin skins and I don't really care. I'm going to be using these for like making spaghetti sauce, put in chili, you know, so it doesn't matter. I'm fine with it. It made life a whole lot easier not to have to peel all of these little tiny tomatoes. So I've got my setup pretty well ready to go. And I could keep going with the video, but I am holding my phone in my hand. I've got my robe on. It's my day off. I'm not all ready for presentation. So anyway, I'm hoping that this gives you a little bit of insight on how it doesn't have to be so complicated. You know, you don't have to be scared. The important thing is making sure you get your acid in there. Now, there is another thing called citric acid that you can, it's a powder, and you can buy it in like a little jar, like you would other spices, or find it in your canning section. However, this year, I went around to 4 or 5 different grocery stores and places. I couldn't find it anywhere. But this is actually what people use more. Some people say they don't like using it because it can change the taste, but this is my first year doing it. So we will figure that part out together, but it's so many videos I watched, they use it, and I'm thinking it's just fine. Anyway, maybe I'll do a follow-up just as I'm going along, you know, holding my phone in one hand and show you the actual process. But here's where I am now, and I'm all excited to get stuff going. So I hope this was helpful, and give me a like, give me a shout, and let's see how this goes. Everybody have a good day.